So you're going to do it now, Laura?
Yeah, I think so. That's okay.
No problem, yeah.
And hopefully in years to come your body's may decay and we'll do like a negative imprint.
Well, are you the only person who will know it's there?
Yeah.
The two white ones, one of them's a birch tree, a silver birch painted with silver birch paint, and then the ash tree's painted with ash paint, and I've got a sycamore which is painted brown, which is sycamore brown colour. But I'm sure, yeah, everybody will get something out of it. I mean, what people get out of it, I mean, I'll probably never know what other people are getting out of it.
This is a structure bridging the gap between the two buildings. Something that doesn't normally happen. You look out the window, but you don't actually communicate with people opposite.
So everything that you're listening to now is all of the sound in this room, and I'm listening to you through the microphone.
But I quite like the way it moves in the wind and things. I mean, it's one of those things you don't really know until you've made it. And
sorry, I didn't hear that last bit.
you don't really know until you've made it what it's, you know, actually the final thing's going to look like. I mean, you have a good idea, but
When's your crit?
on Wednesday.
You worried about it?
No, I'll have thought of something by then.
This is a major work in the fourth year and final year, which does in fact contribute to what their final mark will be. I mean, this sort of thing, for instance, you know, looks like a label rather than the work itself.
Well, I mean, part of the thing with the work is that it does kind of like, it is almost like its own title. Like I imagine
I know that, but just the way that's placed, it doesn't look like a work of art. This itself.
Yeah, but it's funny with the photograph though, because it was a no-frills photograph, the format, the actual size that I imagined the photograph would have to be the most basic form of it would be a 6x4.
No, it's the placing of it.
It's the placing of it.
It just doesn't seem that you're maximising the work. You know?
I mean, it seems that the work on the floor. I mean, you wouldn't want to buy something that was
on the floor.
And
I mean, it might have even been suspended, you know, sort of hanging from the ceiling.
But I suppose it gets back round to whether the initial, you know, one-linerness of it, and then, you know, what else is underneath there. You know, if you persevere with it for a while.
I showed it to my dad, and my dad shops in a quick save store in Morton and stuff, and he's got no art training at all. He looked at it and he got it. He got what I was doing immediately.
Maybe a general audience will get the joke, will get the humour.
Yeah.
They won't get the other thing about the minimalism, you know.
Do you think Michael's going to have a great career ahead of him?
I think so, because he's quite enthusiastic about what he does, and I know that he's put a lot of work and emphasis on what he's done so far, so it can only get better from now on, can't it?
It was very good. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth.
I think that was a crucial thing to actually reveal the microphone and the technology.
Yeah.
Why do you think so? Because it's kind of aesthetically, you know,
dubious,
intrusive.
Aesthetically dubious, do you think?
Intrusive.
Well, I think that's beautiful. I think that's really, really nice. And I think I'm prepared to take on board the stance that you think that's not beautiful.
I said intrusive. I didn't say beautiful or not.
Yeah, but it's like this beautiful, classical, natural sort of statue with this big piece of technology on it, but there isn't really any difference between the two.
Do you think it's more like sort of a series of sketches, or do you think that it's really resolved in the way that they relate to each other and the way that they multiply each other's meaning?
Yeah, well, I think like they are all ridiculous anyway, so half of it's pointing out the ridiculousness of these white marble statues of Caucasians stuck in these different temperate zones, which is meant to somehow show the diversity of life.
You need hard hats, actually.
Yeah. Do you know who owns the budgie?
No, it was from a budgie breeder. So now we bury the budgie.
Right.
I haven't quite got the muscle part.
How many have you done so far, Laura?
This is only the second day, so it's only the second one. I'm hopefully doing the Museum of Modern Art tomorrow.
Yeah. What dead pet?
Fish or a mouse, I think.
you think it's not just a little drama? Is it just a drama that you filmed?
I was trying to make it quite undrama, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it's not. It's got that kind of theatrical kind of quality about it. That.
But I didn't overact it.
No, I wasn't
played
meaning
it
that.
quite,
I wasn't meaning that.
Theatrical in
I think the
terms
question
of
is what makes
makeup and
it
hair.
art.
I suppose if somebody thinks it's art, it must be art. Yeah, I mean, it's the eye of the beholder, I suppose. Yeah.
Do any of you ever feel like there's work that maybe you don't get?
I don't think anyone's going to admit that, are they?
It's so subjective. You know, it could be that the student means something else, but we are perceiving it even individually. We might have different views about the work.
I didn't know it was going to happen until about, say, halfway through the public art project. As the building was being pulled down, I would put the public art project up as well. I couldn't have asked for anything better than to have a building demolished behind my piece of work. I think it's absolutely tremendous.
It was quite tough. It was tougher than I imagined it was going to be, but I mean, you get used to that, you know.
Did you agree with anything they said?
Yeah, most of it in a way. There were kind of flaws to the way that I'd set up the project. I sat in the car and watched people going into the store for about 45 minutes before. Most people, it's like irrelevant.
The public sculpture.
Pretty much. One old fella lent his shopping against it and had a fag while he was waiting for a taxi to come up. I think 2 people put the shopping against it. That doesn't bother me really. I mean, the most interesting reaction is pretty much the way it was the other day from children really. I mean, kids kind of seem to be really curious about it. I mean, I think that whole thing, like, is it art, isn't it art, doesn't really seem to pass through a child's mind, you know. It's just like, what's that thing on wheels with a chain attached to it? That's kind of the most encouraging response, I think.
The future's here, I fear. The genie won't appear.